So let me jump to a picture. It's something like a mounting bracket. And that's the model I now really need for my design. So as I'm used to Creo Parametric, I will directly jump into Creo Parametric and start with the creation of the mounting bracket. So I select the first plane and I jump into the sketch and create the first feature. So let me change the dimensions. The length should be 90, the width should be 70, and let's change the height to 17. I select the second plane and directly start with the creation of the second feature. So let me create some center lines, maybe another rectangle, which I then mirror to the bottom. And then I will add additional dimensions. So doing basic designer tasks, I would say. So let's add this one and then also define the lengths. I finish the creation of the sketch, and once more I change the height of the feature. So I finished the creation of the feature, the model gets regenerated, the so-called footprint gets calculated, and as you can see in the lower right corner, ModelSearch Live appears automatically, showing the designer similar models that already exists in the database. Of course, it also works with more complicated models. So it works with molded models, it works with milled models, with turned models, with sheet metal models, but it also works with assemblies or non-native Creo parametric files. I have another example. It's something like a molded model, and I've opened it from Windchill. And when I do so, I can jump into the ModelSearch tab. As you can see, it's fully integrated into Creo Parametric. And then I can also start the search manually by clicking the button. Exactly the same thing as before happens. The model gets regenerated, the footprint gets calculated, a similarity search got triggered, and ModelSearch Live appears in the lower right corner. As mentioned, of course, it also works with sheet metal models. So I can do exactly the same as I did before. I opened the model, I hit the button, the model gets regenerated, similarity search gets triggered, and once more, ModelSearch Live appears in the lower right corner. But as I mentioned before, it's not related to Creo parametric models only. It also works with other different file formats, like non-native file formats, like STEP or IGES files. So let me import a model I've downloaded from the internet to Creo parametric. The import is done, the model got regenerated, the footprint got calculated, a similarity search got triggered, and once again in the lower right corner, ModelSearch Live appears. It can be that a colleague of mine has imported or stored the same motor 2 weeks ago in the database, and he has already prepared all the attributes we need in our ERP system. So if that's the case, then of course I would reuse the motor my colleague already has imported. Once more, it's not only related to Creo parametric models, it also works with non-native Creo parametric models like step files and IGES, but it's also multi-cut ready. So this means it also works with SolidWorks files, Inventor files, CATIA files, or NX files if you have stored them into your database. Basically, you can say everything you can open with Creo parametric, you can use ModelSearch to search for already existing models in your database. Later on, of course, I will show you that it also works with assemblies. But let's keep it short for now. I showed you that we can find similar models, similar molded models, milled models, turned parts, sheet metal models. But what's the next step? So if you have found similar models, then you probably need to figure out if those are the right ones, if you can reuse them, if you can reuse them directly. That of course would be the best case. Or if they are a little bit different, so let's imagine there is a hole which should be allocated a bit to the right or a bit to the left. Then of course you can also benefit from, because you can reuse the model you have found as a template. You only have to relocate the hole, but all the downstreaming processes you can also reuse. So you can reuse the drawing, the strength calculation, the manufacturing program. You only have to make those little changes. So once more, I will start the similarity search. ModelSearch Live appears in the lower right corner, and if I move the mouse over ModelSearch Live, then it's fixed to the foreground. So I have a little bit more time to start my analysis. In my case, I have found 7 similar models, as you can see in the preview icons. Then I do have 3 attributes at the top of those preview icons. In my case, it's the model's name, the life cycle, and the bounding box, or the main dimensions. Those attributes are customizable, so we can make attributes available which you store from Creo Parametric or from your CAD system to Windchill, attributes that are only available in Windchill, or attributes from an ERP system if you're interested in how many models you currently have on stock or what was the price for the model. In the lower left corner, you can see the type icon. In my case, they differ. So I have a multi-cut environment I'm currently working with, so I found Creo parametric models, CATIA models, Inventor models, as well as SolidWorks models currently. And in the lower right corner, you can see the similarity weighting. The higher the similarity weighting, the more similar the models are. We also use the similarity weighting to sort the viewables. So the ones on the left have a higher weighting than the ones on the right. We also use the similarity weighting to highlight the models. So you can see we have 2 different background colors at the moment. So if the weighting is higher than 90%, then we paint them green. If it is between 80 and 90%, we paint them blue. And there are 3, 4, 5 other possibilities, also user-defined, customizable. But enough to the dialogue. I wanted to show you the next step. So when you have found similar models, then you probably want to start your analysis. And how to start the best? Well, probably the first possibility is to open the model in your CAD system. So to take a look how the model is shaped. Is it the model I currently need? And as you can see with ModelSearch, it's very easy, as we are directly integrated into Creo Parametric and Windchill. One mouse click is enough to open the model in Creo. In my case, I have found 7 models which look very similar to the one I had on screen, and that I do not have to jump between the windows. I can load all of them into one session. So it makes it a bit easier for me to figure out the differences. At the bottom, you can see the model I have started search with, and at the top, there are the models from the preview dialog. Of course, it can also happen that you have found 2 or 3 models which have the same similarity weighting, or which are exactly the same, then as I'm a lazy guy, I would always reuse the model where the complete process already exists. So where the drawing is already created, where the NC program is already created. But where to figure out that information? Well, probably you can figure out it in Windchill. And once more, it's very easy to access Windchill just with one mouse click. As once more, we are fully integrated into Creo Parametric and Windchill. And then last but not least, we also have the possibility to compare the models. So it will take a while. We have created an algorithm that figures out the best position. As you can see, it's already on the screen. So the comparison has created an assembly, has added both models, and has defined the best position. One model is painted red, the other one is painted transparent green. If you can see yellow or brown surfaces, or if they are a bit shaded, like in that area, then those surfaces exist on both models. If you only see green surfaces, like in that area, or only red surfaces, then they are only available on one of those models. So you can see it's an easy visual comparison process. But what about if you want to compare molded models? Well, then you probably also should check inside surfaces. And that, of course, is also possible because that's a native Creo parametric assembly, and I guess you are all used to Creo parametric. And it comes with 3 cross sections out of the box: one in X, one in Y, one in Z direction. And once more, as it is a native Creo parametric assembly, you also have the possibility to rearrange those cross sections or to add additional ones if needed. But there is a bit more to explore, so let's check out the feature tree. In my case, as you can see, I compared a Creo parametric model with a SolidWorks model. And there are also 2 other models available which are hidden currently. So let me talk about how they are created. And it's very easy. So for this one, we copy geometry of the first model, and then we subtract the geometry of the second. So in my case, the second one was bigger than the first. That's why the first difference part is empty. And the second model we create the other way around. So as you can see, that's the whole difference between the 2 models. Very easy, huh? Well, but that's not all. As mentioned, ModelSearch is fully integrated into Creo Parametric and Windchill, which means you also have the possibility to use geometric similarity searches in other departments. So it's not only related to the design department. Let's jump rows. Let's jump into another position. Let's imagine I'm currently working in the workshop and my task is to manufacture the model. Well, then as mentioned at the beginning, I may know I have created a similar model in the past, but I don't remember the article number. So how should I find a similar model in Windchill? Probably without ModelSearch, that's not possible at all. With ModelSearch, it's very easy. Just start a similarity search directly from the Actions dialog. You are forwarded to the result list, where the models are once more sorted by the geometric similarity rating. The one at the top, the one that's highlighted, is the model I started the search with, and below are the results. As you can see in my case, I was able to identify geometric identical models. That's because they have a similarity rating of 100%. But they also found similar ones like that one with around 97, around 96, and so on. And once more, I had the possibility to not only find queer parametric models, of course, I can also find all the other file formats which are already available in Windchill. So let me shortly jump back to queer parametric, because before I promised to show you ModelSearch also working with assemblies. So I've prepared one earlier. I once more jump into the ModelSearch tab where I hit the live action. The model is regenerated, the footprint is calculated, and as you can see, once again in the lower right corner, ModelSearch Live appears, showing me similar assemblies in my database. But once more, there is more I can show you. Of course, it also works in Windchill. So when I jump to the assembly, I can start a similarity search from that assembly. I'm forwarded to the result dialog where I receive the same results I got earlier from queer parametric. But within Windchill, we also have the possibility to analyze the assembly. So we are forwarded to a new tab where it shows me the whole bill of material of that assembly. So let's imagine I have created that assembly and it took me the last 2 weeks. Then of course it can happen that in those 2 weeks, a colleague of mine has created similar or even identical models. And I want to check if that's the case, so that I don't have to open all the models separately. I can run the assembly analysis, which basically will start similarity searches for all the content of that assembly. In my case, it automatically has applied a filter because I'm only interested in models where the similarity rating is higher than 90%. So I only have 7 objects left with a similarity rating higher than 90%. And if I'm interested in how do the models look like, then I can make those available in a separate table below. So that's the model that's used in the assembly, and below is the similar one with a similarity rating of around about 90%. If we go through the list, then we will figure out that there is an identical model available in my database. How does this one look like? Well, we can make it accessible below. As you can see, it looks like that a colleague of mine has created the same gear in these 2 weeks. So probably I will either use his one or delete his one, whatever is easier for me. But I'm definitely not interested in storing the same model with another article number in my database. Let me show you something more. So let's jump back to the mounting bracket and let me rearrange my windows, put the mounting bracket on the right side, Windchill on the left side. So maybe you know, or let's jump back at the beginning. Let's imagine you need that mounting bracket. Then at the beginning, I jumped to queer parametric and started my design. But there are other ways to figure out if this model already exists in my database. Because if you need models, then you always know at least some geometric information. In that case, I'm quite sure you know at least approximately the length of the model, the width of the model, the height of the model. And then you may also have additional informations like the hole diameter of 25, or there are two holes with a diameter of 5 and the hole bottom distance of 40. Of course, the models differ. That means you always will have different geometric information. But as mentioned, you will always at least have some of them. And with that geometric information, I can jump into ModelSearch and start the parameter search. So at the beginning, I'm only using the bounding box dimensions, like the biggest bounding box dimension, which is 90, and I create the range plus minus 10. I do the same for the minimum bounding box dimension and the minimum bounding box dimension. Why? Because I can also benefit from similar models. So I've started the search and I have figured out 80 objects which fulfill that criteria. Well, probably nobody will go through 80 objects. That's why I jump back and add additional criteria. In my case, I will add the drilling dimension, the whole diameter of 25. Let's do so. Add the whole diameter 25 plus minus 5 millimeter. Start the search again and forward it to the result dialog. And as you can see, I could nail it down to 9 objects. So let's check out those 9 models. Let's see how they look like. And it doesn't look too bad. As you can see, they all look very similar than the mounting bracket on the right side. Of course, now I have to once more start my analysis, start to figure out which model fits best for my use case. But I could very easily, without jumping into Creo Parametric, figure out if the model, or at least similar ones, are already available in my database. And last but not least, we can also search your database for duplicates. So it's very easy. Just enter the duplicates tab, where all your duplicates are listed. We group those duplicates. So we name them after a model that's inside that group. And beside, we show you how many models we could identify. So in that case, in that group, I have 5 models which are geometric identical. How do they look like? Well, once more, very easily, you can access that information in a separate table below. So all 5 are geometric identical. The only difference is the article number. So let me jump back to my presentation and let me summarize my demo. So what is ModelSearch all about? Well, once more, ModelSearch is a geometric similarity search solution which supports the whole company in finding and reusing existing models. It also helps companies to eliminate duplicates. It's native integrated in Creo Parametric and Windchill. The footprint is generated automatically, so nobody has to care about. It works for parts as well as assemblies. It also works for multi-cut file formats. As I showed you, it has a high search performance, and probably the most important thing, there is no change of the Windchill object model or the Windchill data. There is also no performance loss on the Windchill server or on the Creo Parametric client. As I also showed you, ModelSearch Live will support you continuously as well as automatically. And we also have the duplicate detection at runtime. We sell ModelSearch worldwide. So here is a small ModelSearch customer excerpt. I'm quite sure some of the companies you know, like probably in the upper left corner, KTM, Sport Motorcycle, or Liebherr. But there is also an Australian-based company called Maltotech. I also have a short customer reference story from Maltotech for you. So the Ben Lawson, the technical manager, provided that story for us. Let's go through it shortly. So they told us that with ModelSearch, they could streamline their design operations, they could optimize their inventory management, and of course, they could save both time and money.